This is Corey Rayshon for Deep in the Streets. We're here at the Faison Firehouse Theater here in Harlem, New York, and we just saw Accept LGBT New York. And we're going to interview the writer, the director, and the actors from the play. Accept LGBT New York. All right, introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Tyree Young. I am a recent graduate of Howard University, class of 2012. Holla at me. I am from Inglewood, California, and I play the character Cyrus in Accept.
And who is Cyrus?
Cyrus is a former slave. He's a free man in 1741 who is murdered for being suspected of being homosexual. His murderers didn't have any real hard evidence of it. So that's why I say accused of being or suspected of being homosexual.
How did you prepare for this particular role?
A lot of research. Most times in school, we'll get education about what slavery was like in the South. So like everything from Maryland on down. But you don't really hear much about what slavery was like in colonies in the North, such as New York or in Connecticut, what have you. So given that the institution was still under the British, that a lot of the practices would still be the same. And so I had to do a lot of research as far as what conditions for slavery were like in the North. Also, looking back at what persecution of gays was like during this time. And something that Karima had expressed was that typically you'll find a lot more research done or documentation of homosexuals in antiquity about men more so than you will about women. Because women didn't really have as many rights, and so therefore they wouldn't get as much examination during that particular time. So that's what a lot of my preparation for it was, looking up conditions of slavery in the North. I had to find ways that I could relate to the character. So when I think of slavery, I think of someone that has had their autonomy taken from them, someone that has their life defined for them from the moment they wake up to the moment that they go to sleep. 24 hours, it's like even when they're not conscious, you're still a slave. And accepting that is what keeps you being a slave. But the moment that you realize or really invest and believe that this is not who I am, this is not my starting point, that there was something that happened before slavery, that this is not who I am, then you can start looking for information and eventually take back your autonomy and free yourself. So,
okay, do you think that with your research, and this is kind of based on where the play was going, the here and now versus the past, in your research of reading and finding out what people were going to just overall, and in terms of being in the now and the present, could you or did you draw any of the similarities or see any relations there?
Definitely. There's a part of the play where Cyrus talks about a fear of being discovered for being a homosexual in his case, but let's just deal with that. A young man, I can't remember exactly which university it was, but not too long ago, his roommate recorded him having sex with another man, and then when he was outed, he then killed himself as a result from the emotional trauma that he was experiencing. And so it all ties back in. There are certain things that are not accepted by the majority of society at large. And so we spend so much time repressing all of these things, denying ourselves, that we do more harm to ourselves than just being okay with who we are. But then once you actually do come out and say, hey, this is who I am, I don't care what anybody else thinks, then there are still people that attack you, that are so adamant about expressing their dislike or even their hate for you being who you are. And that's a sickness to me, that you find it necessary that you need to cause physical pain or even emotional, verbal pain, abuse to somebody else. That's a sickness, and I hope that this play tackles that issue and makes people see where they're wrong in doing that. And how they are hurting other people.
Okay. You just answered my second question.
Yeah.
Or the question that was going to follow. In terms of who you are, you went to school for acting, or?
Yes, I graduated from the theater department, 2012.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
from
you.
DPVN, for sure. We're going to make sure we follow you. Where do you want to go in terms of your art and your craft?
Ideally, for the next few years, I would really just love to stay grounded in theater. Do Broadway, off-Broadway, anything that can really just build my chops up. Eventually, I would like to incorporate film into my artistry, and so, so that it's not just speaking to one audience, but to a larger audience as well. I would also like to have my own youth conservatory, so that I could have an artistic outlet for young people, especially those that are underprivileged, that need some way to express themselves, to know that whatever they're going through in their life, that they are not the only one. And even if they are uniquely the only one going through a certain situation, that there are people there supporting them, that are there, that care about them, that love them. And that are willing to stick with them through their circumstances, their situation, and help build.
Fantastic, fantastic! Wow, these are two great artists. I mean, you guys are deep. I wasn't expecting this, but it's a good expectation. Should I say that?
Yes, that's the plan.
And I'm accepting
that's what's gonna happen.
So great. Where can people find you? Where can, if somebody's really interested in what you just said, how can they get in contact with you?
You can get in contact with me through Facebook, Tyree, Tyree, Young. That's my Facebook, or on Tumblr at Rising Tide, RisingTyde.tumblr.com.
Okay.
That's where you can find me.
I got one question, actually, I forgot to ask.
Go ahead.
And I don't think I've ever asked this, but because you are a recent graduate, and you went to school for acting in the arts, what is your draw to the stage?
Wow. That's an excellent question. I was drawn to do theater because I grew up only child, and I didn't, like, my mom was there. She's single parent, so she worked a lot to make a decent life for both me and herself, and so given that she was working so much, I didn't really have many people to talk to a lot. And so the theater was kind of a way it was the way for me to get my feelings out, not to hold them in, because feelings are those are the heaviest things you can carry. And you can't really see them. You can see them in somebody's expression on their face, but you don't actually see the weight of it. And so that was a way for me to get my feelings out and to air myself out, to really be able to breathe and let some fresh air into myself. So, and I love feeling connected to other people. I really believe in the interconnectedness of life. A lot of times we see things as so separate, but I see so many through lines in everything that's happening. People can be born in very different circumstances, whether it's high class, low class, but we all go through similar challenges, especially growing up. Because life may look good, but home life may not always be as great as people think it is. Right. So that's what drew me to the stage, and to be encouraging, to hopefully show someone a way that a way that they can improve their life, some way that they may be hurting another person, or a way that someone is hurting them, because sometimes we're in denial about those things. And out of trying to protect and trying to uphold that standard of love that we have for someone, we'll kind of refuse to acknowledge all of those hurtful things that they do to us, and try to rationalize it and explain it away. But when you're really living in a truthfully a loving relationship, you don't want to cause someone else pain or suffering. And so when you recognize that you're doing that, you take steps, you take action to reverse that state of mind, so that then you can go ahead and really build something that is affirming and something that promotes growth. So that's a bit of my mission as an artist is.
All right, brother. I'm going to put this one in the vault, because when you do make it, I'm going to pull it out.
Thanks, bro.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. If you heard what I heard, then I think you should be excited. Make sure you check out Tyree Young and Accept. Go to FaisonFirehouse.org. Make sure you call the number 212-665-7698 to purchase your tickets to Accept LGBT New York.